When we are seeking to see and help our children flourish, as well as helping them develop emotions, one of the things that we want to be trying to do is to help them develop gifts, because each of our children are different, each of our children are unique. And as you think about each of your children for a second, I want you to think, what is their most annoying quality? Like the thing that just drives you mad about them. Actually, their most annoying quality might be, and probably is, connected in some way to one of their greatest strengths. And the danger for us parents sometimes is we can see how annoying it is and miss some of the potential of the gift in there that God has given them. Actually, God's word helps us to understand just how different and amazing each of our children are. In the book of Corinthians, where the Christians were trying to be proud that some were gifted in different ways from others, the Apostle Paul writes these words. And so the body is not made up of one part, but of many. Now, if the foot should say, because I'm not a hand, I don't belong to the body, it would not for that reason stop being part of the body. And if the ear should say, because I'm not an eye, I don't belong to the body, it should not for that reason stop being part of the body. If the whole body were an eye, where would the sense of hearing be? If the whole body were an ear, where would the sense of smell be? But in fact, God has placed the parts of the body, every one of them, just as He wanted them to be. If we were all one part, where would the body be? As it is, there are many parts, but one body. And God has taken every single one of our children, every single one of us, and given us a unique set of gifts. And one of the dangers is sometimes we can look at ourselves or look at others and think, well, I wish I had their gift, or maybe we're proud and I think, I'm glad I have mine. And this is a great message to us, that each one of us has been created exactly the way God wanted us to be, with the set of gifts He wanted us to have. And the ear shouldn't say to the eye, I'm any better or worse from you, because the ear is different. The ear is brilliant at hearing, but it's terrible at seeing. But the fact that it can't see doesn't mean it's no good. It's a brilliant ear. It's a terrible eye, but it's a brilliant ear. And one of the helpful ways to think about how our children are wired is that God has given them particular gifts, particular powers, if you like, superpowers. And when they can tap into those gifts, when they can develop those gifts, amazing things can happen. But there's two things to remember about those gifts. Number one, the gift is a superpower. And if you imagine Superman when he was a little kid and he had all these powers, can you imagine the havoc that he could reap? You know, the power that he had could if it's in a raw, undeveloped state, actually could wreak havoc. One of the things Superman needs to learn is how to use his powers to help build up rather than destroy. And actually, your children have gifts unique to them, but they're raw, they're undeveloped, they're untrained. And one of our jobs as parents is to take those gifts that in their raw state can actually reap real destruction and real damage, and help them to train those gifts and use those gifts to cook those gifts so that they're not raw, they're not undeveloped, but actually those gifts can be matured and developed. But alongside that, every superpower also casts a shadow. So if you imagine, the fact that an ear is absolutely amazing at hearing means it's probably pretty rubbish at seeing. And none of our kids have every single power. And actually some powers cast a shadow where if they are good at this thing, the chances are they're not going to be so good at this thing. And one of the things that we have to do is we have to spot those shadows that the powers cast. And what we mustn't do, and actually what we as people can often do, is we can label our kids by their shadows. This is what you're not good at. Or we can label our kids with the superpower in its raw state that actually causes some damage. And actually what we need to be able to do is we need to be able to talent spot. We need to be able to gift spot, to superpower spot, to see what it is that God has given our child particularly. I said at the start, think of your child's most annoying quality. Actually, that is in some way probably related to their greatest strength. It could be that they have a gift, a superpower, that's raw and uncooked and undeveloped and untrained and just wreaks havoc. But if they could get someone to mentor them and develop them and train them and coach them, that gift could be their greatest strength. Or your child's most annoying quality could actually be a shadow side of what their superpower is. And the superpower that they have casts a shadow on something that they're weak on. And so when we think about our child's most annoying quality, what we want to do is to try and spot what is the gift, what is the superpower that's at the center of it. Either because their most annoying quality is their superpower in its raw, untrained, uncooked state, or because their most annoying quality is the shadow side of what their true gifting is.